At Zaantu Fireside Chat, we are going to talk about money personalities. Someone might be wondering what money personalities are. So there's a book that we read, me and my wife read about 5 years ago called The Five Money Personalities. I've forgotten the name of the author though, but if you guys can search about it, it will actually be quite great if you actually get that book. It's a very good book that teaches about how people should handle money. I remember when me and my wife just got married, we used to fight over money quite a lot. We had agreements, several disagreements about how we should spend the money, how to spend it, and then in terms also budgeting, it was totally different. But until we read that book, now when we gained the knowledge, in first understanding, oh, my wife handles money a certain way, I handle my money a certain way. And then we said, oh, okay, so this is how we can work together to handle money together in our marriage. Rather than fight each other, we decided to work together as a team because sometimes the different money personalities, they have different advantages or strengths and weaknesses. So that way it sort of has this counterbalance or this beautiful balance. If you guys work together as a team, if you're married or if you're not married, you can basically glue yourself together and work with each other in a sense. Sometimes you might find couples who have similar money personalities, which we're going to dive into. So, real quick, just right top of off the top of the head, there are five money personalities. Number one, we have the spender. Spender is a person who basically receives money and spends the money. Okay, spends the money on maybe lavishly or on certain things that they actually need in that sort of regard. Then we have the saver. The saver will receive money and save the money, right? And will probably neglect the things that they would need to buy, maybe hold off the money for a later period of time when they receive more money, in a sense. Then we have the risk taker. A risk taker is a person who just receives the money and then goes ahead and invests that money and in specific ventures. And sometimes they have a really high appetite for risk and they go ahead and just risk it all sometimes, in a sense. Then we also have the security seeker. The security seeker is a person who receives the money but always plan about the future, always planning, taking very methodological steps, methodical steps in terms of how do we allocate the money, how do we make sure that we have money for the future, for the next 5 years, next 10 years. And then we have a flyer. According to the book, flyer, in a sense, the way I understood it, is a person who is sort of like random with how they, utilize or spend their money. You could just receive the money and all of a sudden you just go on a lavish trip somewhere in a sense, and then come back and then you're still and then you're broke, right? Now, I for one, before I got married, I never knew much about all of this, but I knew that I would actually like spending. So I would receive money like salary and then spend it all like in 1 day or 2 days, buying things that I want and buying things that I actually thought that I needed. So sometimes it would spend like a week, sometimes just days, And when we got married, me and my wife, she never really understood why I would receive money and then all of a sudden it's done in 3 days. So like, why? What is spending the money on, right? Now, for her case, she was or is a saver, but she's also changed, and we've changed over time in our marriage because of different circumstances. But back then, she was a saver and a security seeker. So whenever she would receive money, she would keep the money. She would put the money or hide the money in several different places. And I would wonder, and I'm like, why don't you just invest that money? Because as a risk taker and also a spender. So I think and also a risk taker with a really high appetite. So I got burnt so many times that my wife would always be like, no, no, I don't trust my husband. I need to save this money. So on random days, my wife would be checking through her stuff and then she would find like a stash of money. And she'll be like, oh, I have money here. And I'm like, what? Okay, I'm broke. Like, we need to buy this around the house. And it was very interesting how we spent money in the very beginning. Now, of course, that led to quite a number of quarrels. We disagreed on so many things. until we got the book, The Five Money Personalities. And then we got to appreciate the strengths and weaknesses that these different money personalities, come with, in a sense. And normally we have the primary money personality and the secondary money personality, the more dominant and the less dominant. So mine back then was risk taker, because I really loved trying to invest in things and see if I can get returns. But also my risk appetite was really high, so I'd really lose a lot of money over a period of time. And then I would also spend the money. uh, I would like pay for all the bills. I would pay for a lot of things that we need around the house, and then I'll just go broke in a sense. And then I'll just borrow in a sort of context. So I'll just be borrowing money here and there, and then pay back over a period of time. So obviously, that's how we were in the beginning. But now that we have children, and different seasons have come and gone in our marriage, I've sort of changed slightly. So my risk appetite has slightly gone down, and my wife's risk appetite has actually gone up. So where she was a saver, and also, always planning for the future and things like that, she's now more into a risk taker now. Now she's actually, because of me, she learned that from me. She's actually taking more risks now, because she was also a saver back then, and also a security seeker. I've also learned to sort of allocate some money into different places over a period of time. So I would save money, like now there's Zeno. So I save my money like in Zeno, and I'm like, okay, so if I save my money in Zeno, I know that the money is probably going to appreciate over a period of time, and that's going to help me eventually, right? So sometimes I save my kids' fees in there. I also save some of my other money in there as well for different goals that I want to achieve maybe in a period of time. I've also seen also something called the Y Investor, I think, or Y Investor with MTN. I'm also saving some money there as well. And it also accrues or gets a certain amount of interest over a period of time. So I've now learned to not just invest in risky ventures, but also to sort of allocate small portions of money and spread them across different places. So I've become more of a security seeker as well. My risk appetite has also slightly reduced. So again, these are things that we've learned over time, and we've had a lot of times when couples fight over money, and it really becomes a really, really huge problem at some point. But at the end of the day, the moment the two of you learn to work with each other and not fight each other, then you're able to build something together in that sort of context. Only if you're willing to actually be open and also open-minded. So that's just a bit of my experience in terms of how I used to handle money. Now I'm handling money now, and I would say I'm still a spender. I won't lie. Some things might stick, some things don't stick, right? So I still spend, though now I first sort out the other issues first, and then I can find a way to spend in a certain context. So yeah, so somehow there's that push pull effect around us right now, but this is information that I wish I knew when I was still single. We wouldn't have gone through a lot of things that you actually went through back then. Also, another thing that we're also learning about is also how to invest better, how to invest more wisely in certain things, right? And I wish there are things that I knew back then. But now that I know them now, it's now opportunity to now like teach them to other people, and so they can also learn to spend money much more wisely. And now we have Young and Louise, who have recently been promoted at Zantu, and now taking on like more projects, and also going to start receiving money as well. And imagine you guys are still at university, which is also interesting, right? And I'm happy for you guys in sort of context, but now would like to hear from you guys. How do you spend your money? What's your experience? Would like to go first. Joseph, can you go first?
Hello, viewers. I'm Seriange Joseph, software engineer with Zaantu Technologies. Money is always a sensitive topic to everyone. More so when you're still young, you don't have it, or it comes from other people. It doesn't come at a controllable rate to you. So Every time listening to all this, I realized I'm a spender, a big spender. Money that I get, I definitely spend all of it. And at some point, I was a saver, but when I started living by myself, bills come up. This you admire this for your place, this and that. I'm definitely a spender. So, though I'm a sort of a good spender, the only thing that I do good is I always do maintain a list of things I want to buy. So I do this in advance when I have no money. I make a list. I want this. I want this. I want a new computer. I want a new phone, and attach price ranges to those things. So any money that I receive, I just go to that list, my current list that I'll be holding, look for what items it fits best, and then prioritize them and buy and get that one. As simple as that. I don't do any saving or investment, but surely it's something that I want to do because definitely you can't move forward without investment and savings. But I'm a spender. There's no doubt about that.
Nice. So it's a good thing that you plan what you're going to buy, and but are there sometimes when you like overshoot, go beyond the budget because it's simply what sounds.
Definitely. When the money is a bit more than what I expected, I get excited and spend it. Everything I see in the shop, I get.
So sometimes you go beyond just the plans that you planned. Sometimes.
Yeah.
Okay,
And
that's
it's
good.
not a bad thing or good thing,
Uh,
but sometimes it's a bad thing, but then you end up, because I enjoy seeing. I don't know how, what other people's experience is, but I get satisfaction from seeing, from holding things. Let me say I have a big screen there. I have this. I have a good phone. I have a good computer.
mm,
It just satisfies me.
okay. Yeah. I also get that feeling as well sometimes. Yeah. Louise, tell us about you. What's more like your personality from your experiences?
Good evening, our dear viewers. So, I think I could say like my primary personality is I'm mostly a saver. Like
Mm-hmm.
every money that I'll get, I'll keep it. Like I'll keep it even if I have something I badly want. I'll first keep it and first let the happiness cool down because I don't want to just overspend. Because sometimes you can spend and now you don't like what you've bought, and you regret and you're like, I should have got this instead. I should have got this instead. So throughout most of the part of my life, especially now when I had grown, probably past 18, I became more of a saver. When I received pocket money, I wouldn't use my money to go to the canteen. I would go with my friends, they buy for me. As I save my money, things like that.
So you would use other people to buy for you food.
Not
Okay.
exactly use, they also offered. Anyway, yes, so I would save, and use just a little because I was also a spender. If I see in my list, me, I wouldn't have like a physical list, but I would know in my head that this is my most wanted thing right now. It's my most wanted thing, it's my list. So I just go through and I'm like, I really wanted this thing, and since I've got more money, I can get it. So in that way, I would spend, but I would
Mhm.
make sure that I don't spend all. That I'm going to get everything on my list that I want, or I can afford this right now. Let me get it. I would usually just get maybe the best and the next best, and first stop there. And I'm like, okay, now I'll get the third best when I get
Mhm.
more money, like
Mhm.
that. So yeah, I think I was both a spender and a saver in that way.
Okay, so you're both a spender and a saver. Those are very interesting combinations because we've also seen people who have those combinations as well. Um, but basically, just learning how people spend or utilize monies, it's honestly very, very interesting. So, but Joseph, you mentioned that you're mostly a spender. What's your secondary money personality that you think you might have?
I think after spending, I do seek long-term security.
Mhm.
So by that, I think that's through making a list and prioritizing the items that I want to get.
Mm,
So I might not have money at the moment, but I will not lack data. I will not lack what to eat. I will not lack the necessities. I will
mm,
never be completely out of cash, and at the same time without what to eat or what. So I do spend, but I have that other part that really takes care of my future self, because I now
mm,
will not have the money in the future because I would have spent it in the moment. So I do budget for that. I do budget for food expenses, different expenses, travel, this and that, so
mm,
that it can sustain me during that time when I do not have money to spend anyhow or buy new things.
mm. Okay, so you basically spend, but also you plan ahead as well, which is also interesting. You don't want to be on the side of the fence where I was, where I would spend and I would also take risks. That's not a very good combination because sometimes you go overboard. You go
That's a winning.
overboard. I
That is
remember,
the winning strategy.
I remember there was some time when I had some money and I went ahead and bought a few things, and my wife was like, "Why did you buy these things?" So she was angry with me. But later on, she appreciated what I had bought. But again, I had gone beyond like the budget in a sense. So that's the beauty about some of these things. But also, if you also blend it with other people and also other people also interact with money, it's very, very important. The one thing that I think for some of us who might be struggling with money, now for my case, I had to learn how to do a budget, and budgeting just wasn't enough. So what I did eventually was I got a book, and in this book I simply wrote down like different items, and I said, okay, so this book, and I had different pages. So each page has an item. So I would say, okay, here maybe this is dating. Okay, so me and my wife we continue dating. So this is money for us to date for this month. Then flip over the page, and then next is food. This is how much money you're going to spend for food. Flip over the page, go to the next page, and then I would have so different items basically, right? So you could say maybe utilities or electricity. Put the money there. Flip next page. So that actually helped me to control how I would spend money, because now the money was in different compartments and I couldn't just pick money, because before I would just have money in one location and then I would just keep picking. But now I would now receive the money and then I would split it into all these different compartments, and I would put the book somewhere, right? And I would just pick the money for that specific thing and just use that. And if the money is done, sometimes I could borrow from the other one, but of course I would, try and discourage that. And then I would just say, you know what, the money is done for this. That's it. Only money that's remaining is for other things from other pages. And so that helped me to also quench my desire to just keep spending, right, aimlessly. And there's some of the tactics that we used, to overcome this, but also at the same time, having a good balance between primary secondary is very good. However, you don't be in the other part where like you're a flyer sometimes and you spend everything lavishly on something and then you just go broke. And then you sort of, just go through the motions in a sense. But the thing about money and relationships and relationship with money is that money sort of, I don't know, there's something that I'm still learning about money and a relationship with money. And I'm beginning to think that money actually follows those who respect it. I don't know if you understand that. Money follows those who actually respect the money. So if I have money and I respect it well, uh, in terms of how I utilize it, in terms of how I have a balance of all these money personalities, which is also good. Sometimes you can have one flip on the other, and then you don't be too much of a saver because you end up neglecting the things that you need at some point and you end up suffering. I once heard of a story of someone who was making quite a bit of some money and he sent his children out to study. to another country to study, and he, whenever he would receive his money, he would always pay for his children to study from another country. But then he was the one always suffering because he was living very poorly, and he wasn't really enjoying what the fruits of his own labor. So sometimes you want to overly tip the scales into one direction, but creating a really good balance really helps in a sense. Are there some key takeaways or anything that Jojo or Louise you want to mention maybe before we close off this section? Or any key takeaways from this specific talk?
Um, I think for the spenders out there, I would advise you to figure out ways to make more money because unless you change your personality, money will always come and go. But other than that, away from the part of making more money every now and then, planning for the long term future is important. And in these early days, when we are still young, it's really important to invest in yourself, invest in the tools of the trade that you're in. If you're a mechanic, you get the toolboxes. But for us now, for example, we are software engineers. Invest in that good machine, invest in that good phone, whatever you need, invest in that good internet to ensure that you make more money. That will be now income. But then in the long term, you should really look at passive income. And that's one of the things that we are looking at the
Mhm.
startup school with Zaantu. I think Mr. Martin will talk more about that. Yes.
Mhm. Louise, your key takeaways in this regard.
My key takeaway from this is that actually this has helped me actually to, because I didn't have it in mind. I've never actually thought about it, that which kind of money personality do I have. But I just knew that most times I save, sometimes I spend. So it has helped me enlighten me on which other personalities are there, and has actually helped me narrow down on what I should do. Like of recent, I've actually noticed of recent I'm also getting the personality of thinking long term, like
Mhm.
how am I going to be able to make money in the future? How am I going to be able to multiply the money I have right now? And
Yep.
not just I've got money, what should I buy? I need new shoes, I need this. First put that aside and think long term. So I think that's something that everyone should really put in mind. It's very good, it's a very good thing. Yeah, to make your money work for you and make more money for you, not just spend it just because you got it free or just because you've got a lot at once. It's not a very good thing to just
Yep.
finish and just say it will come back, but there will be a time you remember it.
Yeah. I used to be one of those people who said the money will come back, don't worry. Now I'm the person who's like, what if it never comes back, you know? So that's a very, very interesting things. However, just to tip you guys out there who might be thinking about, okay, how do I handle my money? How do I move forward with my money? How do I keep money around me in that sort of context? Again, I'll just continue to say that money comes to those that respect it. So one of the ways that I'm learning to respect money again is there's something called bonds. There's so unit trusts. So again, it goes to getting like financial education about different kinds of things, right? So the what they call low risk ventures that you can invest in, or low risk things that you can actually invest in. So we have like government bonds, we have securities, and these are kind of like low risk in a sense because you always know that the government is going to pay you back your money eventually. So it's like you put in like 500,000, 1 million, you go to the bank and say, you know what, I want to buy a bond, and then you give in the money. So what happens is that the money, so it's like the government is borrowing money from you, and it's reinvesting the money into its public services and things that it needs to do for the nation, and then eventually it pays you back over a period of time. It pays you back with a certain amount of interest, right? So what I did was when I was reading about all of these things, I landed on Zeno, and I think Zeno is quite good because it's able to sort of multiply my money over a period of time. And I have like different goals. So it's where I set like my school fees. So I noticed that every time we save in the bank, especially in a savings account, the money doesn't really multiply. And you know what happens on a yearly basis, that we have inflation happening every year. So things are becoming more expensive over a period of time, meaning that the money that we have is, is getting less. What's the word? Our money is sort of losing value. Yeah, value. Our money keeps losing value, right? So what happens is that if you're to buy, let's say, a bottle of soda here in Uganda at 1,000, maybe in the next 5 years it will be 1,500. Okay, the same bottle of soda here. Like in the year 2025, maybe in 2030 it will be 1,500, even 2,000 in a sense. So what does that mean? Things are getting much more expensive. Now, you need to find a way to multiply your money over a period of time. So low risk ventures are those that I just mentioned: government bonds, securities, things like that. But though they give you little return on interest, maybe like 3%, and also save with them for like a period of time. But I rather keep my money with Zeno, because I know that the money is going to increase over a period of time than to put my money in the bank. Another way that you can also sort of like, invest money in a sense is still looking at business. So you could start your own business, because business now have high returns, high yield, because it's more risky than saving your money in the bank. And if you start your business, then you could potentially gain more money or lose all your money in a sense, because it's risky, right? But the beautiful thing about business is that you're guaranteed that at some point, if you take it seriously, you will eventually be able to keep money around in some, like in some shape, way, or form, right? And business will keep returning returns back to you. At the same time, you also create value for other people, because you create job opportunities for other people. You're able to pay other people also sort of get also like a livelihood from you, right? And that's a very important thing about business. Now, because at Zantu we value, first of all, training leaders like you guys, Louise and Joseph, and also at the same time, because of a spin-off called Zantu Capital, where we now connect investors to entrepreneurs who are looking for funding. Sometimes you might be in a position where you want to expand your business, but you don't have the ability to, simply because you don't have enough capital to expand. So we started something called Startup 101, and it happens every Wednesday at 7 p.m. We'll be able to share the link in the description for those of you who are watching. And what happens is that we talk about startups and business every Wednesday East African time at 7 p.m. and it's free, so you get to learn about what we are doing, learn about how you start a business properly, learn about what to think when you're doing business in that sort of context. So we want to provide value for you guys out there, so that you actually get better at utilizing money. Now, back then, I didn't know the things that I know now, and I wish I knew these things much earlier on. But now we have the ability to give this information and just dish it out to whoever is able to receive it, in essence. So if you are interested in building a business, or you'd have a business and you're trying to see, how do I get better at this business? How do I improve this business? I think Startup 101 will be very helpful for you. Yeah. So I think that's it for our case. Louise, Joseph, do you have any last calls, any parting calls? Louise, anything?
No, nothing on my side.
All right. Thank you very much, guys, for listening to us. This is Zaantu Fireside Chat, and today we're talking about money personalities.